I just realized that there's probably nobody listening right now because they're all too busy watching the season 7 premiere, which means that I am free to talk about this episode as much as I like, and I can air this. On the bright side, on the downside, this probably means I'm not going to get as many ratings as I should. So, without further ado, episode 26 of the Lunaverse at the Grand Galloping Gala by Rainbow Double Dash. Chapter 13, Castigation of the Night Court. The flapjack, Piggy said indignantly. She was a little red in the face at this point, though not from indignation, but rather the vodka that she seemed to have taken a liking to. What is a flapjack? It's a pancake. Flapjack was just some jerk waiter who got an idea to try and steal the thunder from the delicious breakfast classic.
Right.
Bluebell agreed. Pinky did nothing halfway. He was tipsy. She was moving on to full drunk territory already. Although only her balance seemed to be affected, not her lucidity. She was half leaning on Blue Blood, or was he half leaning on her? But her mouth still moved at a mile a minute. Is there anything that would differentiate a flapjack from a pancake? Let's think. What do you put on flapjack, topping-wise? Syrup? The exact same syrup you put on a pancake. And that's why it's called pancake syrup. Never once have I... Blue Blood's heart tingled as he felt a surge of magic, though he didn't know where. I heard someone refer to it as flapjack sauce. Seriously, it's a pancake in a pan. It's basically a basic cake's recipe of a pancake that I understand. So he continued ranting as Blue Blood and she trotted towards the door, intent on ignoring the ruckus around herself and his new best Polly, in favor of going back to his apartment at the castle, and seeing where the night went from there. Probably, with him passed out before it could get really interesting. A flapjack was some kind of tie into the great North equestrian pastime of lumberjacking. I'll make an exception that you give you one of the remaining lumberjacks on the continent find your lucky kip. Only you may refer to them as flapjacks. That was, at least, until a monster came from nowhere and landed in front of him. A monster that nevertheless seemed very familiar.
Zane.
Yes. But don't still have a mind make your pancake come and start throwing out your lumberjack slang. There was a moment of silence after Greengrass's words. Selena stared at him with wide, puzzled eyes, and he stared back with an expression 1,000 times more shocked than that. His outburst had actually banished thought from his mind for the briefest instant of panic, but of course it did not last.
Oh, stars. Did I really just say that? I was only thinking it. I didn't mean to say it. What am I doing? I'm saying everything out loud in front of the princess. Everything that I'm thinking, everything oh, Luna, I really do think you're a useless cow, but I don't want you to know that.
The words poured from his mouth of their own accord, and there was nothing he could do to stop them. Even as he put his host to his mouth to try and stop himself, his mouth kept working. Finally, he did the only thing he could. He turned and ran. He didn't get far, however, as he found himself wrapped in a midnight blue aura, lifted up, and floated back to the princess, who turned him around.
Put me down, you worthless figurehead. Oh, stars, I called Luna a worthless figurehead. Why can't I stop talking and telling the truth? I'm trying to lie. I can't lie. Why can't I lie?
You appear to be under the effects of a tooth poison, Greengrass, Luna said, starting to dig down and making her grow brighter. I can see that, you idiot, and I need you to let go of me before I tell you about how I want to reduce your power to nothing and run equestrian and make it perfect.
Oh, no, I did not want to say that.
Greengrass turned around, trying to run again. Luna turned him back around, however. If you run, Greengrass, I won't be able to find a way to counter it, she said. Her voice and expression betrayed no emotion, but her wings were spread wide, fluttering in annoyance. And her ears were perked and pointed forward. She was listening to every word he said. This made him do his panic and think of things he did not want to say, did not want Luna to know. And as he thought of him, his mouth translated them into sound, and Luna learned everything, every plot, every plan, every thought he had on her rulership. Everything. This is a truth poison. You can't use this in any kind of court trial. It's illegal and not admissible as evidence. I am aware, Luna said as her magic washed over him. It's a very stubborn tooth poison, too. I believe I have found a counter. Luna was interrupted by a roar and a great crash from within the ice palace. Sound of ponies shouting, flashes of light. She turned to look at the ice palace, regarding it for several moments before darting forward. Come along, your grace, she said, heading towards the gala and telekinetically bringing the Duke with her, despite his repeated, loud objections. At first, as the singing spell watched over the gala, there was nothing, and nothing lasted for exactly a fraction of a second. Then ponies started talking, whether they wanted to or not. Stars above, you're fat. That was because it was me who framed you. Really, she should have known better banishment than what was what she deserved. Oh, if you don't give me what I want, you'll regret. I wish I was anywhere else but with you.
Feather brains and mud ponies still out of you.
Oh no, I had punch too. Trixie began as the whole of the gala descended into chaos. It took only a few seconds as ponies realized they were saying things they didn't want to. Panic, it tried to run away from whoever had been talking to, which resulted them into running into other ponies, spouting off more words and panicking even more. Within seconds, the two night guards had been closing in on Suzanne, were overrun by panicked ponies, swept aside as the little pony decked into chaos, moving effortlessly out of Trixie's sight. Trixie's horn flashed as he performed a counterspell, shutting out the truth as the scourge. There was a wave of blue magic, and every pony fell silent. But it didn't last more than a moment, as a flash of purple from somewhere in the chaos set it off again. Trixie grimaced. She couldn't stop the chaos, not as long as Suzanne could just learn the truth poison back on. She, instead, turned her magic inwards, switching off her own truth poison as she looked to Shining Armor. He had one hoof to his mouth, speaking into a gemstone, a communications note of his own, like Trixie's satanic ear clasp. He finished and looked at Trixie, evidently not having any truth poison that night either. I've closed the exits and I've got night guards on them, he shouted over the din, but I can't keep them closed for long. There's too many ponies in a panic. Some pony could get hurt. Trixie grimaced. Give me 3 minutes, Trixie responded. She also had to shout right into Shining Armor's ear to be heard. If we can't find her by then she's gone. I'm sorry. I didn't expect this to happen. No plan survives contact with the enemy, Shining Armor assured her. Don't let Suzanne get away! She flashed him a smile before shooting off into the crowd, looking around. She just huffed to her ear. Okay, she called it. Raindrops! Ditsy! Fly! You try to find me. The numerous Pegasi in the gala were already in the air in a panic, of course. It was much easier to spot the two Pegasi in the air amongst the other Pegasi. That was easy enough to spot them on the ground and miss the ponies of all tribes. Trixie saw the two waving at her, each of their mouths moving at a mile a minute, and their eyes wide with panic even as they closed in on Trixie. She sent a burst of magic to each of them. Their mouths stopped moving. What's happening? Raindrops demanded, as she and Ditsy flew near to Trixie. They couldn't land, not amidst the crush of ponies moving around Trixie. Suzanne spiked the punch with truth poison, Trixie declared. She's somewhere in here, but I don't know where. We've got maybe 2.5 minutes to find her before Shining Armor has to let everybody leave. Ditsy's eyes somehow become wired at Trixie's explanation. She looked away, over towards the plate full of foals. Several of their foals had their mouths moving rapidly and looked panic. Dinky wasn't one of them, she saw, but her daughter was moving amongst them, trying to keep them calm while trying to also hide her own panic. As one of the night guards Luna had stationed there, the other was nowhere in sight, presumably ran out to close an exit. Okay, Ditsy said. What do we do? Trixie's mind was whirling. Ditsy, pick me up, she said, as she took a hook to her ear. Shirley, Lyra, look for Zane. I'm going to try and spot her magically. Carrot Top! I don't know how that mixing is going, but if you can hear me, get back to the gala. We need help. She looked at Raindrops. The second I find Zane. Oh, don't worry. I figured out my part, Raindrops interrupted, cracking her fetlocks as Ditsy grabbed Trixie around her barrel, taking her into the air and trying to avoid all the Pegasi already flying around in a panic. Trixie closed her eyes for a few moments as her horn glowed, and then opened them again. They were now growing bright blue as regarded all the ponies around her and beneath her. One of the first spells that Trixie had learned, Her ability to see magic was almost as good as Luna's. She could look not just at the stored, raw magic of unicorns, the way the unicorn who knew to detect magic cantrip could. She could also see the flowing, ingrained magic of Pegasi and Earth ponies, and other races as well. Even better, every pony had some sort of magical signature tied to their very being. Trixie could use her ability to see magic to find Zane, she suspected. She didn't think it would be easy. It was. For the mist of stored, glowing pink of the unicorns, the subdued yet powerful green of the Earth ponies, and the wavy blue magic of the Pegasi currently in the air, there was a trail of jagged, broken red magic, the likes of which Trixie had never seen before. The magic curled and twisted around on itself, getting caught in knots that would then dissolve into nothingness. It reached out ahead of itself and behind itself, twitching, pulsing, shifting without form or reason, but in the center of it all. Trixie blinked, canceling her magic sight, found herself looking at a green unicorn in a mint dress. But the unicorn's mouth wasn't moving. Her eyes were unnatural red and tiger-slit. She didn't look panicked like every pony else, like Trixie herself, but instead appeared determined, looking for a chance to not simply get out, but to escape. She looked around and up at Trixie, and her eyes flashed with recognition. "There!" Trixie cried out, pointing. Raindrops was off in a moment. She was not a fast flyer by any means, but even she could cover less than 100 feet faster than a pony could gallop. Not quite fast enough, however, for a pony to not be able to respond. Zane ducked Raindrops' bow, her disguise falling off of her in a cloud of magic as she did, distracting Raindrops. She lashed out with a hind hoof as Raindrops passed overhead, her blow connecting solidly with the Pegasus. But Raindrops took the blow easily, grabbing Zane's hoof and lifting her into the air upside down. Unicorn cried out, horn glowing, but Trixie sent a telekinetic burst at it, nulling the magic for a moment as she and Ditsy closed in. That was when it happened again. Jagged, chaotic magic leapt from Zane's entire form as she shifted. Trixie wasn't sure how, but somehow Zane was now being held by one of her front hooves instead of one of her hind ones. Raindrops almost dropped her shock when Zane lashed out with her tiger's paw. "What?" Trixie demanded, as Raindrops tumbled away in the air, bright red, though shallow scratches across her cheek, having dropped what Trixie was beginning to suspect was not a unicorn at all. Zane landed on 3 hooves, while her right foreleg was now that of a tiger. The not unicorn looked at her own paw in almost horror, before glaring at Trixie and turning around, running, her movement lopsided thanks to her odd appendage. Dizzy was after her in a moment, as was Raindrops again, with Trixie along for the ride. Trixie's horn glowed, conjuring an image of shining armor right in front of Zane, his horn glowing as he charged her. Zane bought the illusion, crying out and turning. Right as Ditsy let Trixie fall a few feet to the ground and closed in on Zane, who was outstretched and colliding with the not unicorn's face. She rolled with the blow, however, letting herself fall before striking once more with chaotic magic that wrapped around and suffused Ditsy. The great Pegasus cried out as he tumbled from the air, wings having vanished, disappearing into a swarm of moths that shot up into the air. Trixie's eyes widened at sight. She'd forgotten that Zane could do that, but they no sooner had when Dizzy's wings reappeared, whole and healthy. However powerful this chaos magic was, it apparently was not very stable or long-lasting. It had that going for them at least. Zane got enough to run again, but stumbled. Her other front hoof had changed appearance, becoming long and furred, ending with a hand, or something like that kind of monkey. "Ah!" The night unicorn cried out, stopping her run. She turned her eyes on Trixie, chaotic magic swirling around her once more, not even as a single gossamer wing, like that of a moth sprouted from her back. "Look at what you're making me do!" Trixie tossed a burst of chaos magic that lashed out from Zane's horn. It collided with a Galactus behind her. The earth pony shivered, glowed, and shrank, suddenly finding herself to be in full no more than a year old. Trixie stared in disbelief, even as the age spell wore off. The pony found herself full-sized again, before looking back at Zane. The not unicorn shouted at her as her single moth ring spread wide, while her tail transformed into one that was short, scaled, and heavy, ending with a club that looked some kind of prehistoric beast. Her horn had been joined by an antenna. Her right hind leg, though still basically pony-shaped, was now black and made of chitlin, with several holes in it. What are you? A Draconequus. She's a Draconequus. I thought they were just legends. A voice from beside Trixie came. She looked and saw Lyra and Shirley, their mouths moving under the effects of the truth poison. She sent a magical burst at Lyra, stopping the effects of the truth poison on her. Lyra offered her a nod of thanks, even as the barest burst of horror came to the gala, and that the ponies were backing away from Zane. She's a Draconequus, Lyra said, horn glowing as she summoned her lyre to her side. A kind of chimera, basically, but their body parts could be anything. The former unicorn glared hatred at Lyra's words. I'm not, she said, though she almost saw like she was trying to convince herself. I'm a pony. There may be a little spark of chaos within me, but I am a pony! As she said this, she threw her monkey paw forward, fingers spread wide. A gout of flame lashed out at Lyra. Shirley reacted first, jumping and pushing Lyra out of the way, ducking beneath the fire herself. As she came up, her mane and tail were a little singed, but that was all. Okay, Trixie said. She used Zane's momentary distraction to turn herself invisible, even as she created a half-dozen illusionary copies of herself. So, how do we get her? Shirley smiled a little as she scuffed the ice palace's floor with one hoof. A good solid buck to the face, I think, she said, charging. Dizzy raindrops followed, while Lyra and Trixie hung back, even as Trixie sent her illusions forward, horn glowing and ready to try to counter any spells Zane cast. Zane's moth-wing flared at the rush, but rather than stand to take it, she turned and ran. Mothwing batted aside Ditsy when the great paces tried to tackle her from the sky, while she leapt and spun in place at raindrops as his own charge, avoiding an incoming hoof stomp and responding with a solid push from her monkey paw that knocked raindrops from the air. So she was up in moments and closed in with a series of quick hoof stomps to put Zane on the retreat, even as Cheerily vaulted over her. Unfortunately, forgetting her club tail, the tail swung and struck Cheerily on her barrel. She rolled with it, but it still went tumbling away into the crowd of ponies that by now left panic far behind, and under a sea of concern that had yet to be given a word in the equestrian tongue. Trixie's illusionary copies were on Zane then, but the knot pony didn't bite them for a moment, breaking her forelegs around in a wide arc and dispelling all of them before jagged chaos magic struck out at Lyra. Trixie pushed herself out of the way and found herself the subject of chaos magic's effect. It was wrong, plain and simple, sharp and invasive, seeming to take a special dislike to her entire being and how ordered it was. It rendered Trixie partially visible again. Partially, it was they could see her muscles and bones and veins for a few brief, horrifying seconds, as Trixie wondered if she had somehow been flayed alive. But the chaos magic was also short. Even as Trixie wondered how her blood was staying in her body, her skin and coat and gala dress reappeared, having been rendered selectively invisible, not removed. Lyra picked herself up as she dragged her hose across her lyre, and a series of quick notes aimed at Zane, finishing with a chord that sent reverberations across the gala and shattered nearby glass. It struck Zane square on as she stumbled away. Even as she did, however, chaos magic seized Lyra's lyre, and she suddenly found herself gripping a living sword fist as big as she was. Lyra fell under its weight, its confused gyrations before her lyre returned to normal. She was up again in a moment, as Trixie recovered from the shock and see her own insides, and charged forward. Zane avoided raindrops and Cheerily's blows, both before sweeping out with her tail. She turned around, saw that only Ditsy and a pair of night guards between her and the nearest door, and struck out again with chaos magic. The guards were turned into fluttering, confused fruit bats, while Ditsy suddenly grew 40 feet tall, more than large enough for Zane to charge beneath her legs and reach the door. The door flew open, inwards, having been bucked open by an orange earth point in a rush to get into the gala. Carrot Top, panting heavily, for though she was more than used to hard work, she wasn't used to galloping halfway across the city to get somewhere in a rush. The door collided with Zane's face, sending out the knot unicorn spinning away and landing in the crowd's eyes spinning. Carrot Top took one look at her, drew her own conclusions, and left it to knot unicorn, bucking Zane in her chest and sending her sprawling on the floor. Suzanne took her head from the blow, got up, and saw Trixie bearing down on her. Suzanne roared, chaos magic glancing out again, passing harmlessly through the illusion. Her eyes had enough time to glow wide as the real Trixie, visible and right beside her, bumped her solidly in the side of her head, and her world went dark. Luna entered the ice palace, dragging a ranting green grass right behind her. She found a scene of utter panic and chaos. Every pony was screaming and shouting at the top of their lungs. Pegasus flitted through the air in a panic. Shining Armor was coordinating the night guards to protect the entrances to the ice palace to keep some pony from escaping. And on the far side of the room, near the main entrance, Luna saw her apprentice Trixie become visible after having bugged what apparently looked suspiciously like a Draconicus, square in the face. Though the being's non-equine parts seemed to slough off of her and disappear as she fell into unconsciousness. Leaving behind a white unicorn mare with a purple mane. The Princess of the Night frowned as she beat her wings, taking it to the air, landing on the second floor of the gala, horn glowing brightly. The truth poison had been tough enough to crack, but after a few minutes of examining Greengrass, she had been able to find a counterspell. It only took a few moments to modify the counter in her mind to apply to a mass of ponies. Her horn flashed as she sent a wave of silvery, selenic magic out from her being. The light washed over and purged each and every pony of the truth poison, save one. Even as the rest of the gala fell silent, faster than Luna had seen ponies quiet down before, Greengrass's mouth still moved. Finally, you're dispelling it. Wait until. Why am I still talking? Why am I still talking, you useless cow? What are you doing? Every one of these worthless ponies can hear me. What are you doing? You let me keep talking until I say how I want to see each and every one of these sycophants locked away in dungeons and forgotten about while I take over the country and run because you're useless. Luna let Greengrass continue for a few more seconds in the silence before looking at him. Oh, she said, my apologies, Duke Greengrass. I appear to have missed you. Her horn glowed, and with a light of a magic, the tooth poison was purged from his body, too. Greengrass's mouth clamped shut as he stared at Luna with wide eyes. You. But he stuttered. Not to worry, Duke Greengrass, Luna said, offering a beatific smile. As you said, nothing said while under the tooth poison is admissible in a court of law. Greengrass's eyes somehow grew wider. That's not right! That's not... He backed away from Luna. But I was going to win the game. Just wanted to enjoy. This isn't fun anymore! Greengrass turned and ran, barreling past ponies as he charged for the nearest door. Several guards moved to block him, but an outstretched hand from Luna saw to it he wasn't allowed to pass without incident through the door, out into Canterlot. Ticker Mark, your feelings on this matter. Please, when I have a breakdown, everybody knows it. Luna watched him go impassively before going back to the gala, specifically her apprentice, was with shining armor, even as the night guards procured an anti-magic ring and slipped it around Zane's horn. Luna was honestly not sure, however, if that would have had any effect on the Discordians. For that matter, what she truly was, to have referred to looking like a normal pony once out cold. Chaos magic. Constant shining armor in my night guards, Luna said, looking around. See to the needs of the ponies here. Make sure no pony is hurt. Look after the foals first. We're looking, Linfall called out. Center, if Luna was correct. Vice Pooh Science is his great grand cult, who was a combination of too young and too hot by the adrenaline to care about interrupting the princess, even as the foals were quickly joined by their parents, most of whom looked far worse and were aware than their children. A little scared, but okay. Luna breathed out a visible sigh of relief at that, so she didn't otherwise respond to the full other did not. Needless to say, the rest of the gala was being cancelled. Luna told the participants of the event as she took flight, flying over to Trixie and her friends. I must ask for every pony to remain here while the night guard ascertains what happened, if any pony needs immediate help. Then you may leave. I ask for patience for just a little bit. Luna landed in front of Trixie, once everybody else in the gala turned around, checking on each other and making sure everything was all right, while more than a few looked thoroughly embarrassed and mortified what they had said during the chaos of the tooth poison. Archduke Pfister, in particular, being given a wide berth by all Earth ponies and Pegasi in her room. Satisfied that the panic was over, Luna looked to Trixie. "Tread very, very carefully, I believe I said," she said in a low voice. "Miss Gala was more delicate than most. I have a distinct memory of this, Trixie." Trixie wilted a little under Luna's gaze. I tried, Princess." "She did," Lyra said, stepping forward, instead of all Trixie's friends. "We didn't know Zane was a... what was it?" "A draconic quest," Lyra said. "I thought they were myth." "But we didn't know," Canterlot said. "Please don't blame Trixie, your Majesty. It's Zane's fault, and everything worked out in the end, right?" Luna between Trixie's friends, for letting out a tired sigh, shaking her head. "You're all right, of course," she said. "Goodness knows that I've had plans blown up in my face in the past." Luna looked to Lyra. "She's not a draconicus, I assure you. She is a Discordian. There's a seed of chaos within her, and a potent one. But apart from that seed, she is a normal pony."
"She's coming too!"
one of the night guards at Zane's side warned. The night guards took a ready postures as Zane's eyes fluttered open, as did Trixie and her friends. Zane opened her eyes and tried to stand, but found herself being held down by several night guards. She looked around, eyes settled on Luna as she froze. "Oh no." Luna frowned as she stepped forward. "Zane, is it?" she asked. A frown deepened. "Poisoning in thy court. That is high treason. One of the very few crimes in Equestria that is still punishable by death if the crime is heinous enough. Certainly you can expect to go to jail for the rest of your natural life." Zane's eyes widened, before narrowing. She moved into the same position. Something the night guard only let her do with a nod from Luna. "I don't think so," she said. "Oh, I'm going to jail, but I think you'll go easy on me." Luna blinked at that. "Oh?" she asked. Zane waved a hoof at Luna, beckoning her closer. Luna considered a moment before leaning in, listening as Zane whispered 6 words into Luna's ear. The Discordian jumped when Luna laughed. Well, not laughed, but chuckled. She stepped back from Zane. "I am afraid," she said, "that your information is a little out of date. Princess Cadenza knows that she is my daughter. She has for some months now." "Wait, what?" Zane exclaimed, eyes wide. Her sentiment was echoed by Trixie and her friends, save Ditzy, of course, and despite themselves, by the night guards and flanked Zane. Luna nodded. The surest way to defeat blackmail was to expose the information on one's own terms. "Cadence and I have been trying to think of a way to break it to the general public," she said. "Our current thinking is for me to do it at her 1000th birthday next year. But I know that Cadence would not want me to let somebody else use that information to try and control my actions." She looked down at Zane, though she was addressing every pony had heard her. "Although, having said that, I am equally certain that she would not want the surprise ruined unless it had to be. Cadence and I can long outlive any scandal, but that does not mean we wish to." Zane stared at Luna for a moment more, before looking down at her host, eyes wide. She had probably thought that the 6 words, "I know Cadenza is your daughter," would save her from a prison, or worse. She had been mistaken. Their smug attitude had been replaced by despair. Luna thought of all that as she turned to the truth points of facts. However, from Greengrass, and the snippets he had heard upon entering the gala as well, no matter the crime, she did not wish to leave a pony at the mercy of the hang pony's noose, when there was some way at least for them to make up for their crimes. The entire point of capturing Zane had, after all, been to find a way to learn the full extent of the crimes of the Night Court. The princess reached out a hoof, tilting Zane's chin up, so the pony was looking at her eyes. "However," Luna said, her horn glowing. Her eyes glowed white, as did Zane's. Zane opened her eyes. She wasn't at the gala anymore. She wasn't anywhere anymore. As she looked around, she saw nothing but blackness in all directions. Blackness and herself. She wasn't alone for long. Just as Zane stood, Luna was there, right in front of her, looking down at the pony with a look of disappointment and concern. Zane stared back. "Where are we?" she asked. Your mind, Luna said. My mind. Poof, in a sense. This is but a dream. Normally, there would be some sort of dreamscape, but I feel we could do without the distractions. Suzanne recoiled at Luna's words. Get out of my head! She screamed, before backing away from Luna. Luna held up at one hoof. I'm not really in your head, she said. We are conversing only. Even your surface thoughts are unknown to me. I would never invade a pony's privacy, so not even yours. Though entering this dream state does allow us to speak in private. The only way I will learn something from you is if you choose to give me that information. Luna started trying in a long, slow circle around Zane. More importantly, she said, I wasn't here about a moment outside. Zane stared at Luna. So what? She asked. Are you going to what? Trap me in here? Make me get stuck in some kind of dream limbo? The princess frowned. No, she said. Then what? Luna considered. The night court, Luna said. I want you to tell me everything you know about what goes beyond my back. About your trade in secrets and lies. And who it is you're trading those secrets and lies with. Zane glared at Luna. You want me to sell out? Yes. No. No. No way. I do that and my reputation is ruined. Do you honestly believe you have a career as a saboteur after what has happened tonight? Is your cause of secrecy really, truly life imprisonment and dying for? Suzanne glanced at that. The outcry of the moon had a point. She was caught. She had no chance. She owed no pony anything, really. Certainly not enough to be risk hanging over. She looked at Luna. I want to be sent to a medium security prison, and I want to... Luna's frown deepened and held up a hoof. I'm afraid you have the wrong impression, Zane, she said. This is not a negotiation. You will tell me what I want to know, and I will help you in whatever way I see fit. Certainly, I will see to it that you do not face capital punishment. I make no further promises. Nor will you tell me what I want to know, and so I will not help you. And the court that you are set for will judge you as they see fit. Those are your choices. Suzanne began to rail at that, and how unfair that was. But what Luna could do with her ultimatum and where she could stick it. Even as she did, however, a change overcame Luna. It was nothing grand or overt, but her expression became a little harder, muscles a little tense, and her eyes slightly narrower as her wing raised slightly. It occurred to Suzanne that Luna was already being incredibly merciful when she did not have to be. That she had just poisoned the entire night court. Never mind as part of a sting to try and capture her, as the choice still fundamentally been hers. She had made it. What was it that Luna said earlier in that night? That the night court was fundamentally a sense of Luna herself? Meaning an attack on the night court was an attack on Luna, and being more ancient and more powerful and more unfathomable than any other will still free, only save Corona. Why would she believe anything I say? Suzanne asked. She didn't intend to lie. She only wanted to know how Luna could keep her vow, not invading her mind. Yet she didn't intend to verify everything she said. How would you know if I was lying? Luna's expression grew colder somehow. I wouldn't if I were you, she said in a low voice. Suzanne did not want to test the limits of Luna's patience, so considered the options in front of her. She didn't want to sell out. She really, really didn't want to, as in her business, threat was everything. But what did she really have to gain by staying silent? Nothing. She would never go free from prison if she didn't work with Luna, work with the court. That was assuming she wasn't hanged for what she was done. When she was gone, what would her reputation mean? The only ponies who respected it would ever see her as a resource lost and nothing more. Luna was giving her a choice. But really, there was no choice at all. She hung her head in defeat. What do you want to know? To the outside world, the entire conversation, hours of it, took only a second. Suzanne stumbled slightly when the connection was broken, looking at the sudden glare in the ice bounce's light. Her expression had changed to one of resignation. There's more, she murmured absently. Luna's expression had shifted as well, becoming a look of cold, unforgiving anger. She stood up straight as she looked past Zane, out of the gala, the members of the night court in particular, with utter contempt, for looking to her night guards. Wait 1 hour, she said. Then I want the night court before the Selene Cathedra. The night guards bowed in obeisance, and Luna nodded, looking back to Zane. I know there's more to Zane, and you'll tell me all of it, and then I will decide what to do. I am satisfied with our progress so far. Obedience, Selene Cathedra. I'm learning so many new words today. Luna cantered off, Zane following, a faint blue glow around her. Luna keeping a telekinetic grip around the professional blackmailer, though Zane looked in no mood to run. Trixie watched Luna trot away, before looking back to her friends. Trixie left as soon as Zane had been knocked out, of course, retrieving her daughter, but she was back now. I think it worked, Luna said. I've seen Luna do that before. She can have hours-long conversations with some pony, mentally, in just a few seconds. She looked pissed, Raindrops noted. Ditsy covered Dinky's ears. Raindrops! She cried out. Raindrops looked suddenly mollified at that, bearing a lull in embarrassment. At the moment, Ditsy took her hose from Dinky's ears, let her straight on. I'm not going to use that word, I know, Dinky asserted her mother. She tilted her head to the side. What word, no? It's complicated. The Stormforces were trying to get Princess Luna to add more, in order to make the Night Court a better place. Heavily, we didn't go overboard, Carrot Top said. The nobles of Equestria, the dukes and the margravines, the viceroys and barons, and all the ranks in between, fled into the throne room in the small hours of the night. It was rare for Luna to call them all together like this. None of them knew quite what to expect, especially not after the chaos they had just been through at the gala, the truth poisoned, and the mad scramble to capture Zane before she could escape. The nobles knew that Luna had seen to Zane herself, and she had been about to leave the gala finally, muttering and complaining about a ruined night, when they received this extraordinary summons. It quickly became known that there was only one pony missing, Duke Greengrass of Canadia. All others were in attendance, even Viceroy Nightlight, found in his office and brought to the throne room. And Viscount Blueblood was more than a little tipsy. It looked like he had been nursing quite a hangover the following morning. The throne room was light in blue and purple lights, magically enhanced moonlight and starlight from the night sky outside. It felt more than bright enough to see it by. It made the shadows of the room long as the ponies arranged themselves into familiar positions, filling the available space before the steps that led up to Selene Cathedra, the throne room of Equestria, carved from a sea and cushioned with silk, inlaid with silver and platinum. The throne that glistened in bright silvery light, with almost every member of the night court in attendance. It was standing room only, as nobility filed in. The process was drawn out, however, as every single one of the nobles who entered the throne room paused at what they saw of the throne itself, and Luna, standing rather than sitting, was born in royal regalia with her mail and teen animate, flanked by several night guards. In front of her, back to the night court, by a form unmistakable to those whom had been recently her victims. Zane, a ring around her horn to negate magic, and manacles around her hose to restrict movement. Further, both Luna and Zane's eyes glowed a bright, brilliant light, the two of them staring into each other. As the last of the nobility entered, Luna's eyes lost their glow, as did Zane's. Unicorn stumbled slightly, as an expression on her face of fear and worry. Not intimate, overriding fear, however, more like she had a sense of impending doom. Luna's own gaze hardened slightly as regarded the unicorn, and were saying something to her. Those in the night court who could read lips, of which there were more than a few, knew what Luna said. Thank you for your cooperation. It will be taken into consideration at your trial, as promised. You have my word you will not face the noose. The expressions of those words of those in the room knew that Zane held secrets he did not want exposed, of which there were more than a few. Suddenly changed that to a impending doom to match that of Zane, as the two night guards on Luna's side directed the unicorn forward. She tried with her head held low, not looking at any of the nobles in the eyes. Once she had left the throne room, the night guards closed the door behind them, and Luna was left alone with her night court. Most amongst the nobility were doing their best to hide, knowing smiles or pained looks of sympathy. as befitted their feelings and what they thought was about to happen. The public humiliation two or three of their number, from whatever Zazine had told Luna, they expected her to open with some speed about the expectations of the night court, before calling out the ponies and talking them down. They were disappointed, and Luna was still, absolutely still, for several moments, before standing. She did not speak, as she descended from the Selena Cathedra, trying slowly yet determinedly up to the nearest noble, Five-String Wallflower, looking her in the eye. More than a few ponies in the night court felt slightly lacing. A Vice-Reem! Vice-Reem was going to be exposed for some crime. It meant the entire hierarchy would move and shift. The sheer change, the opportunities would be immense. Luna did not stop at Wallflower, however, even as the earth pony began to wilt slightly under Luna's gaze. Luna instead trotted past each of the night court that assembled to the left of the throne, looking each noble in his or her eye. Her face, previously a look of impassivity, gradually came to one of almost sun-socked disbelief. Slowly, very slowly, Luna reached the end of the pony scattered to the left. She still did not speak. She turned and trotted past them, still gazing at them, then moved to the assembled ponies on her throne's right. She repeated her process. Slow step, looking at the noble in the eye, and then moving on. Her whole endeavor taking 5 minutes. 5 ponies where not a pony spoke. Gradually, slowly, with mounting horror, it began to dawn on the nobles in court exactly what Luna had learned from Zazane. How many of them had been betrayed by this professional blackmailer? Luna completed a walk and returned to near the Selena Cathedra. She stopped in front of Archduke Fisser, looking him over in his entirety, as though she was comparing a photograph in her mind to the pony she saw before her. What she knew versus what she saw. Archduke Bobbing Fisher, Luna said, breaking her silence at last. Her voice was calm, neutral, almost consoling, despite what she asked next. Did you really burn down one of your own factories? Fisher seemed taken aback. He blinked.
Majesty, you can't really trust.
Answer the question, Luna interrupted softly. Neither her volume or her tone shifted. Fisher blinked.
Majesty,
he began. Luna stared at him, saying nothing more than breathing and blinking. Almost against his will, Fisher looked away from her, no longer capable of looking her in the eyes.
Yes, Majesty.
Luna blinked once, laid in silence, opening her mouth as though to say something. Then she leaned back again. She began trotting again, moving until another pony caught her in the eye. This one closer to her throne than any other. Five-String Puissance, she said, her voice still soft and calm. Your eldest son nods. Did you falsify at his trial? Puissance was nearly as tall as Luna, and like Fisher, she did not wilt. I did not, she said attentively, far louder than Luna had spoken. And begging your pardon, your majesty, but I resent the implication. Luna stared, unmoving. Puissance breathing heavily, sweating all of a sudden, wings extending and reacting pensively. I must insist on an apology, majesty, Puissance said. The princess stared a moment more, and tried on. Graying her teeth, Puissance stepped from where she was. Majesty, she objected, you cannot honestly believe the lies that... Luna turned around, looking at Puissance. She said nothing, did nothing, other than gaze at Puissance with a carefully neutral expression. There was no magic, no words, nothing more than a glance. But Puissance rocked back on her hose regardless. She bit her lip, staring at a moment more, before bowing her head to the princess, resuming her place amongst the nobility. Luna resumed her trek. She stopped at ponies randomly, asked a question, sometimes vague, sometimes specific. Often they were questions of their own corruption. Sometimes they were inquiries about the crimes of others, whether they knew, whether they did anything about it. Sometimes the pony tried to deny it, even keeping their denials under a sharp look from Luna. Others would not answer, looking away in shame. All questions were generally on the same subject. Questions about blackmail, or extortion, or bribes, or even simply looking the other way when the pony asked them knew of wrongdoing. Dustin supposed his reaction was only a remarkable one, for being the only one that actually elicited a reaction from Luna. She came out to the Pegasus, who had already been sweating and wilting as he observed the castigation of her peers, wondering if her turn was coming. She looked at Luna in the eye and said only 2 words. A bribe. Posy needed less than only a second before losing her balance and falling to her knees, hawks in tears. I'm sorry, she exclaimed. It was years ago. I was young, and Klaus still needed to build a pass, and it was only once. Only once? Luna asked, conscious of a smile on her face, a slight trace of incredibly inappropriate mirth in her voice. Only once? That is a great relief, Justice Posy, that you are a pony of such integrity. The sarcasm was thick and cut into Posy like a knife. She buried her hand in her lips. Luna lingered only for a moment. There was the barest trace of regret, of mercy, but it disappeared quickly as Luna stepped away from her nobles, even though trying to put as much distance between them and herself as she could, before finally turning around to regard them all. Is there a single honest pony amongst you? The call shout to everything would have implied a used sound. It did not seem so, as the ponies gathered felt Luna's shout more than heard it. They instinctively brayed, and whinnied and feared, as Luna's head whipped back and forth, glaring at each one of them in turn. Gone was the quiet, patient pony of a moment ago, her head low, lips curled back in an animalistic snarl, her wings spread wide. She stamped a hoof to the ground. Impostors! Liars! Cruel, ruthless, vain selfless, undeserving maggots! Every single one of you! Then the volume was reduced from her in this loud burst. Luna's rage was no less palpable than as she entered forward, and amongst them, glaring left and right, her mane and tail raising and whirling as the stars within glowed angrily. You're supposed to be the highborn, the great leaders of Equestria, born and bred and trained for your positions. But all of you are corrupt. The worms of the earth have more to offer to Equestria than you do. Majesty! One noble, Margrave Club's vessel, exclaimed. His mistake, as Luna's head whipped out, her eyes locked on his, as he started towards him, and the other noble scurried away from Luna. The Marquis himself backed away before realizing that the effort was futile. Majesty, he begged, you can't honestly believe what a career criminal is saying. Should I not? Luna asked, stopping one hoof. The impact made the floor shake, and the Marquis nearly lose his balance. Then it appears that I would do well to ignore every word from your mouth from this day forward. How much do you make per year of the Zaldanian tribes? Answer me, Margrave! Majesty, look at me in the eye, Margrave Club Special. Look at me and tell me that the Zane lied about you, about any of you. Marquis looked to his princess, mouth opening, ready to speak, but he could hold his gaze with Luna's dark eyes for only a moment before turning away, hiding behind the nearest convenient baronet. Luna followed his retreat with a sneer before turning around, making her way to the nobility and ascending the steps of the Selena Cathedral. I have a mind to purge every last one of you, throw you all in jail, dissolve the Night Court entirely, and try something new for Equestria! Viscount, with more knowledge of the nuances of law than common sense, raised his voice at that. But the laws of Equestria, Majesty, laws you yourself are beholden to, say that only the nobility or gentry of Equestria can. Then it is fortunate indeed, Viscount, Luna said as he reached the throne, turned around, and sat with wings still spread wide. That every mayoral of office in Equestria was bequeathed a lordship hundreds of years ago. Silence. Slowly, very slowly, it occurred to the nobility that this was not a knee-jerk reaction of Luna's learning the extent of their crimes. The idea that this was no accident, no random happenstance, but had an actual plan on Luna's part, began to seep into their minds. At the same time, it began to occur to them that all of the time they had been lying, cheating, breaking the law, looking the other way, accepting bribes, erasing blackmail and banishments, the entire time, even as they patted themselves on the back for being so clever, for looking beneath Luna's notice, they had not invaded her. That she had known that all Zane had done was provide her an excuse to remove them from power. removed their families from power. It do away with the nobility entirely, illegally at that. It was not true, of course, but Luna did see a valid reason for them to ever know that. The princess's scowl had not dropped as she regarded them all. Measure her calmness at last returned to her voice, though it was precariously balanced on the edge of a knife. This ends, she said, the corruption, the degradation, the ruination of so many ponies' lives. The bribes and blackmail and gossip campaigns, the thefts and threats, the spies and saboteurs, and all the acts of petty gain. They are finished and done, and I will brook no argument on the matter. You may consider yourselves on probation. You will act in accordance with the letter and the spirit of the laws of Equestria. You will work honestly, openly, and fairly. If you have issue with your fellow members of the court, then you will bring those issues to me, and I shall arbitrate, and my decisions will be final. You will do this, because if it begins again, if the slightest whisper across it for any of you reaches my ears, then I will dissolve this night court, to strip you all of your rights and titles, and create a new body of ponies who are willing to work for the good of Equestria and are capable of doing so without defining the very ideas that this nation was founded upon. Do I make myself clear? A stunned silence greeted Luna. Her eyes narrowed as she stood from her throne. Do not make me ask again. The response from that was immediate, if discordant, a mixture of yeses and absolutely's, and, of course. The precise wording did not matter to Luna. She heard agreement and consensus, and for now that would be enough. She sat back down to Selena Cathedral, folding up her wings up as her horn glowed, opening the doors to the throne room. Leave now. Most of the nobles did so. A few, like Viscount Blueblood, running as though through their lives, leaving at a somewhat more measured pace. Many ponies, including Archduke Fisher, had their heads cast down in shame. Some, Vice-King Puissance amongst them, still watched with their heads held high, and looked as if they felt undeserving what this occurred. No doubt, Luna thought, even now scheming for a way to continue with their lifestyles as though nothing had changed, that they were planning on trying to extend to Luna's patience the limits of her ultimatum. If they actually did, they would be in for a very rude surprise. Some lingered, rushing to the door's leaning cradle. Justice Fragrant was amongst them, as they bowed and begged for forgiveness, pleading to know what it would take to make Luna stop glaring at them so. That this last group even existed, even though it consisted less of a dozen ponies, a bittersweet consolation to Luna, but she was no mood for mercy as he pointed to the doors of her throne room. Go and earn your forgiveness, she ordered. Those ponies left, as quickly as they could. Luna watched them go, remaining stoic, tall and regal as a princess should, until they were all gone. Then she rushed back on her haunches, nearly falling over. She sat in her barrel at the Selena Cathedral, laying her head on his arms. For all of her power, she suddenly found she lacked the strength to even sit up straight. She wanted to cry. She wanted to scream. She wanted to split herself up into hundreds of bodies and chase after the nobles, look them in the sleep and make sure they took her words to heart. She felt tired, spent, exhausted. But the night was not quite done. As the night guard once more entered into the throne room, she looked into one in particular, Sassafras. Please, she said, go find my apprentice. Bring Trixie to me, and the largest flagon of wine you can find. Night guard nodded. I will find Trixie, she said, drying off, and a flagon of water, your majesty. Luna blinked, staring after her. Has she really now of all times, was she really going to enforce? As Sassafras left the throne room, Night guard thought she heard an exhausted yet relieved actor coming from Selena Cathedral. But if asked, she would have said it was only the wind.